The domestic textile industry in India comprises 5% of the country's GDP, 7% of industry output in value terms, and 12% of the country's export earnings. How is the textile industry of India developing?
And the textile industry, you see, is a core industry for India, and it is very well positioned because in the overall global textile trade, five countries are major suppliers. That is China, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Vietnam. Now, Bangladesh and Vietnam do not have raw material. They depend upon other countries for their raw material, and Pakistan has got limited supply of raw material. China, of course, is the major shareholders of the global textile trade, almost 35%. So, if the global textile trade is 1 trillion, China holds around 350 billion of global textile trade. India is around, say, now 44 billion, which is around 4.4%. And again, Pakistan, Vietnam, and Bangladesh are closer between 3 to 4.5 billion or 5 billion. So they all rank upon similar to what India's market share is. Now, when we speak about China plus one strategy, which is being observed globally, where brands and retailers are de-risking their supply chain and trying to move away from China because they faced a lot of disruptions this last 2 years. So they wanted to see that how they can rely upon other sources and other countries where they can start sourcing, moving away from China. So this is China plus one strategy, which we are all observing, and China is slowly losing out some market share on the textile front, which is advantageous to India. And as I explained, India is very well positioned on the textile front because India has got all kinds of raw material, and India is traditionally very good at textile sector because it has got an established cotton base, it has got an established spinning base, weaving base, and it has got the necessary experience because it is also supplying to its masses because India has a large population, and we have seen a consumption of textiles in India too at a higher level. So all these factors and the government support too, which who has recognized that textile can generate more employment, which is the need of the hour. So there is a focus upon this sector by the government to provide the necessary support with a lot of schemes, and that all these factors are helping the industry to do well in the future, and we all believe that India should do well in the global textile trade in the coming years. So I think the overall demand, which has subdued because of the inflationary impact, should ease out, in time to come going forward. And also because India is very well positioned, India should do well as compared to its peer groups, in the near future.
Unlike in developed countries, textile factories in India are not fully automated and remain labor-intensive. How do you see the industry developing in terms of technology adoption?
India is investing into automation, digitization, and various other areas where India does feel that the productivity has to be improved. And certainly the corporates and the players all are investing into these areas quite substantially as of now. And slowly they are recognizing the fact that, automation and digitization will definitely improve their overall competitiveness. So basically, on the spinning side and on the weaving side and dyeing finishing side, there's a lot of automation already which is existing because People have invested into state of art equipment. But on the cut and sew side, also, India needs to do a lot to improve the productivity and see how automation can provide that competitive advantage. So, as a country, we all are investing into that uh, part of the value chain with a lot of automation, say laser cutting machines, eton systems, automatic packaging and folding systems, and conveyor belt systems to handle the material from one place to other. Then, so all these areas, they are slowly analyzing to see what can be converted with full automation or part automation. And it is happening. So that will bring about changes in our overall, deliverables. So I would say that, and with digitization, India is already good in computers, ITs, and software, both hardware and software. So that necessary competitive advantage will also be utilized in textile sectors to see how we can get information quickly, how we can analyze it, measure it, and control it. So digitization also will help to improve our competitiveness, which is also happening because many of the industries are investing into SAP systems, into other ERP systems, so that they can analyze the overall uh, the overall operations and see how they can excel in that and provide more information in a detailed manner so that decisions can be taken on time and at a speed so that the changes can be executed on time. So I think a lot of emphasis is uh, being provided in these areas by the industry to see how we can improvise in overall, automation and digitization going forward.
The average lead time in manufacturing and delivery sums to around 45 to 65 days from fabric buying to shipment of apparel. How can this be reduced?
In textiles, particularly, there are different segments of businesses in the entire value chain, like, say, raw material sourcing or producing, then spinning, then weaving, dyeing, finishing, cut and sew. So currently in India, there are standalone operations and not very large integrated operation as such in each areas of production. There are many players who have invested in this integration and they are reaping the benefit to see how they can improvise on their lead time. Secondly, we are supplying to OEMs and mostly B2B when we are into the made to order business. When we are made to stock business, then the lead time can be shrunk because we know when to produce and when to deliver and how we can get the resources in house to see how we can deliver faster. But in made to order, you need to depend upon so many factors to combine the resources. Say, example like you need to buy cotton or yarn, or you need to buy fabric, or you need to dye finish it, you need to cut and sew it, you need to, export it. So every part of the value chain takes certain time more than if you are producing in-house your own product as a brand or, your own product mix. So I think slowly India is converting its business into into having more branded approach through either licensing or developing its own brand, connecting with the like consumers directly through D2C brands, which is online also, and slowly seeing that how it is able to not only secure the supply chain but also consolidate the supply chain with a speed so that they can deliver faster. But the challenges are also many, like what you have seen during the pandemic, as well as this due to this geopolitical situation, that there are a lot of disruptions happening in the supply chain, whether it is packing material, whether it is dyes and chemical, whether it is movement of goods from one place to other, whether it is any other inputs which we have to depend upon either through imports or nominated vendor or through any other means. So a lot of pressure is there on the supply chain side, which if we are able to manage properly, we'll be able to address this lead time issues, which are generally like between 45 to 60 days. So in time to come, a lot of automation, as you asked earlier about digitization, about how you can manage your supply chain well, this will certainly help the industry to deliver much faster.
Environmental compliance often is not at the top of textile and garment importers' concerns. How is the industry working to establish sustainable practices?
Uh, Sustainability has now become a DNA in the textile industry, part of their DNA. The reason being because in textile industry, there when you are dependent upon cotton, you know that if there are climatic changes, the impact will be directly on the supply chain of cotton. So this is one area where people are working backward to see how they can get connected to the farmers, how they help them improve their yield, how they make them aware of better practices so that the crop quality is good, the supply chain is regulated, and a lot of efforts are being done on the supply chain side of natural fiber as well as man-made fiber to see how the raw material supply can be provided to the industry. On the operational side, as we all know that the government has come out with JLD, like zero liquid discharge, and various effluent treatment, regulations, where industry have incorporated that within their operation to see that whatever they discharge is as per the standards and is not harming both the soil as well as the surrounding environment. And that is also seen from the various effluent treatment plant which integrated player and the other players are establishing to see how they can control their effluent and see how they can reuse the water, which is also a challenge, going much more faster. So the emission side, like are also being controlled by the operation to see that we do not release more carbon in the environment, thereby bringing the temperature down. And all the companies are participating in various initiatives taken by its vendor to see that how operationally, whether it is like machine or product or process or emission or environment or socially, how we can provide much more flora and fauna to our society to see that we can enrich our air with more oxygen and reduce the carbon footprint to see how we can make it much more healthier for the society to breathe. So I think a lot of efforts are being put in our textile industry on the sustainability side. As a company, I am proud to say that we have released our first ESG report, and we have also been now uh, participating and uh, registering ourselves with UNGC, with CDP, with SBTI, which are all world renowned organizations which not only recognizes you as a sustainable, taking steps towards sustainability, but they make an uh, transparent assessment of your operation and come out with a report which is available in public domain. So there is a complete transparency of how you are handling your operation and how you are benchmarking yourself through Higg index or any other methodology with the world producers. So I think we as a company also in the 17th SDG, that is Sustainable Development Goals set up by United Nations, we are participating almost in 10 of them. And we as a company are taking forward steps in various areas to see how we can become much more sustainable in the future. And we are also committed to the bringing about changes in the climate, in committing for the climatic change. And we as a company have committed that by 2030 we are participating to bring about a 2 degrees temperature, decrease. So I think textile companies overall in India are playing an important role on the sustainability side. And because we are supplying globally, we are meeting all the compliances of the big box retailers and the world marquee retailers. And they come and audit us uh, periodically to see that how we are performing on the sustainability front. So, as a country, we are doing a lot. As a company, we are committed and we are doing uh, a lot, lot of activities on the sustainability side. And I think going forward too, we are all committed to it. So, it will be rather, good to say that India as a country and all the companies which are participating in the textile space are committed to sustainability, and they are taking necessary steps to see how they can improvise on the carbon footprints.